The first sign was the sound. Not thunder, not an airplane, something deeper, like the sky itself tearing open. The four friends were halfway through their second bottle of whiskey when it happened. "Did you hear that?" Emily said, pausing mid-sentence. The cabin sat deep in the forest, miles from the nearest road. Just trees, wind, and the creak of old wood. A place they'd rented for a long weekend to escape the city. No signal, no noise, no people. Except now the noise had come. A low, vibrating roar rolled across the mountains. Then the sky flashed green. What the hell was that? Mark stood and walked to the window. Across the dark tree line something burned through the clouds. Not falling like a meteor. Guided. Controlled. Then it slammed into the forest. The ground shook hard enough to rattle the glasses on the table. Silence followed. For a moment, none of them spoke. Then Tom grinned. "Meteorite." "Too slow," Emily said. "Satellite crash?" suggested Ryan. Mark was already pulling on his coat. "Oh, come on," Ryan groaned. "You're not going out there." "Something just fell out of the sky," Mark said, "a few hundred meters away." Emily grabbed the flashlight. "We should check it out. Or we could stay in the warm cabin and not investigate mysterious crashes in the woods at midnight." But curiosity had already won. 10 minutes later they were outside. The forest smelled wrong, like burning metal and ozone. The trees glowed faintly green ahead of them. "See that?" Emily whispered. They stepped into a clearing, and stopped. Half buried in the earth was something enormous. Not rock, not metal. It was smooth, black, curved like a shell. The surface pulsed faintly, as if alive. "What the?" Tom breathed. A crack ran along the side of it. Then the crack moved. The ship, because that's what it had to be, split open with a wet tearing sound. Something crawled out. Tall, thin, its skin pale gray stretched tight over long limbs. Its head too large, eyes black and reflective. The thing staggered like it was injured. Then it looked directly at them. Ryan whispered, "That's not real." The alien's mouth split open. A shriek tore through the forest, and 3 more shapes climbed from the wreckage. "Run!" Mark shouted. They sprinted back toward the cabin. Behind them the creatures moved fast, unnaturally fast. Their long limbs snapped branches as they crashed through the woods. Tom tripped first. He hit the ground hard. "Wait!" he yelled. Emily turned back. One of the creatures dropped from a tree. It landed on Tom. The screaming stopped instantly. Emily didn't look back again. They burst into the cabin and slammed the door. Ryan shoved the table against it, while Mark locked every window. "What were those things?" Emily gasped. Mark grabbed the fireplace poker. "Aliens," Ryan said quietly. A heavy thud hit the roof. All 3 froze. Something was up there. Claws scraped across the shingles. Then, crash! The back window exploded inward. One of the creatures lunged through the glass. Mark swung the poker as hard as he could. The metal connected with the creature's skull with a sickening crack. Black liquid sprayed across the wall, shrieked, and collapsed. But it didn't die. It started to stand again. Emily grabbed the shotgun mounted above the fireplace. Boom! The creature's chest exploded. This time it stayed down. For a moment, silence. Then Ryan whispered, "How many were there?" 3 long scratches appeared on the front door. Then 4. "They're hunting us," Mark said. Another crash, this time through the roof. The second alien dropped into the living room. Ryan screamed as it tackled him. The creature's claws pierced his shoulder. Emily fired. Boom! The alien's head snapped back. Ryan shoved it off and grabbed the hunting knife from the kitchen counter. With a desperate yell, he drove the blade into its throat again and again. Black blood pooled across the floor. 2 aliens down, but the scratching at the door stopped. Nothing. "Where'd the other 2 go?" Emily asked. Ryan was breathing hard. I don't think they're trying to break in anymore. The lights flickered, then went out. Complete darkness swallowed the cabin. Something moved in the hallway behind them. Emily turned slowly. A shape stood there. The third alien. But it wasn't attacking. It tilted its head, studying them. Then its mouth opened, and it spoke. Not words. Ryan's voice. Perfectly. Help me. The creature had been listening, learning. Emily felt the cold realization crawl up her spine. They're not just animals, she whispered. The alien stepped closer. Mark fired the shotgun. The blast tore off its arm, but it kept coming. Ryan tackled it. The two crashed into the wall. Shoot it, Ryan yelled. Emily hesitated. Claws slid toward Ryan's throat. Boom! The third alien collapsed. Ryan lay beside it, shaking, but breathing. Then Mark said something that froze them both. Where's the fourth one? A shape unfolded from the shadows behind him. It had been there the whole time, watching, learning. The final alien lunged. Mark barely turned before it slammed him against the wall. Its claws sank into his chest. Emily fired. Too late. Mark slid to the floor. The creature turned toward her and Ryan, but something had changed. Its eyes moved between them, calculating. Then it spoke again, in Mark's voice. Not finished. Ryan grabbed the broken fireplace poker. As the alien charged, he drove the jagged end straight through its eye. Emily fired one last time. Boom! The alien collapsed. Silence returned to the cabin. Through the shattered windows, Ryan slowly stood. Emily lowered the shotgun. 3 bodies lay on the floor. Tom, Mark, and the alien. But Ryan was staring at something else. The alien ship still glowed faintly through the trees, and inside the wreckage, lights flickered on. Emily followed his gaze. Tell me that's not what I think it is. Ryan swallowed. Escape pods. Something moved inside the ship. Many things. The 2 surviving humans stood in the broken cabin, surrounded by alien blood. For hours they waited, weapons ready, expecting more creatures to emerge, but none came. Eventually the forest grew quiet again. Slowly, the sky began to lighten. Dawn crept through the trees. Gray light spilled across the clearing. Then a new sound echoed across the mountains. Helicopters. Ryan stepped outside first. Helicopters roared overhead, circling the crash site. Moments later, trucks thundered down the dirt road that led to the cabin. Soldiers in black tactical gear poured out, weapons raised. "Drop your weapons," one of them shouted. Emily set the shotgun down immediately. Ryan raised his hands. Within seconds they were surrounded. A soldier looked past them into the cabin. His expression changed instantly. "Sir, you need to see this." More soldiers moved toward the crash site. Others sealed off the area with yellow tape. A man in a dark coat stepped out of one of the trucks. He looked less like a soldier and more like someone from an intelligence agency. He studied Ryan and Emily carefully. "You're the only survivors?" Ryan nodded. "They came out of that thing in the woods," Emily said quietly. The man looked toward the glowing wreckage. "We know." Blinked. "You know?" The man didn't answer. Instead, he turned to the soldiers. "Secure the craft." Large transport vehicles rolled toward the alien ship. Heavy equipment followed. Within minutes, the crash site was crawling with military personnel. Ryan watched them carefully remove the alien bodies. One soldier paused beside the final creature. "Sir, this one's different." The man in the coat stepped closer. The alien's black eyes stared upward. Dead. But its mouth was still open, frozen mid-word. The man turned back toward the cabin, toward Ryan and Emily. "You two have been through a traumatic experience," he said calmly. "We're going to take you somewhere safe." Emily looked at the soldiers loading the alien craft onto a transport platform. "Where are you taking that?" The man gave a thin smile. Somewhere far away, chill run down his spine. As the helicopters lifted off and the convoy began leaving the forest, the clearing slowly emptied. The broken cabin stood alone again. But buried deep in the mud near the wreckage, a small black pod twitched. Unnoticed, uncollected. And inside it, something moved. The first sign